Last week, Canon announced the Canon R8 and the R50, the R8 being a full-frame mirrorless camera right above the RP, and the R50, which kind of like in the name, is possibly replacing the M50. Today we're going to be talking all about it in this video. But before we get started, sorry I haven't been posting a lot. It's just been a really crazy year with the Airbnb. And we finally have renters in the downstairs unit, so woohoo! But enough about that, let's go straight into the video. So, the Canon R50. What are the specs? What's it gonna be like? We're gonna be going over this article by TechRadar. Let's start off with the release date and the price. So the R50 is starting at $800, and that's the body and the kit lens. Already from there, it's very similar to the Canon M50 Mark II, which is about $700. So it's only a $100 difference if you want to upgrade to the R50. And just to let you guys know, the R50 is a crop sensor camera, very similar to the Canon M50. So already there's plenty of similarities there. So this camera is geared more towards the beginners and vloggers and that want a more cost-effective way of getting into the Canon EOS ecosystem. And if you want to start getting into like the R mounts, you know, this is going to be like your pretty much your entry point here. You're going to be able to use RF and the RFS lenses that Canon is starting to make. Although at the moment recording this video, Canon doesn't have a lot of more budget options for their R series lines. Sigma and Tamron don't have any of their own lenses quite yet, so hopefully they release some soon. But what you can do is buy the lens adapter for this. So they have a EF to RF lens adapter, or it might be the other way around, where you can adapt your old like EF lenses onto your RF camera. So there's always that option too, if you don't want to wait for Canon's you know, RF glass. So outside of Canon, the other options that you have at a similar price point right now is the R10. From Nikon you have the Z50, and from Fujifilm you have the X-T32, and like I said, the M50 Mark II. So you can see that Canon's like putting this right on the level of all those cameras there. So really, when you compare this camera to other cameras, that's what you should be comparing it to, the, you know, basically the competition. Like I said, it's priced at around $800, and it's set to come out sometime next month in March. It's gonna have two colorways. It's gonna have the black and the white, similar to how the M50 was. They had that white version with like the silver lens and everything. If I actually end up getting this, I might actually get the white one just cause I think it just looks cool. I have like black everything, black shirt. As you guys might know, my wardrobe is mostly black. And that's by choice, by the way, too. So a lot of the design, outside design on the R50 is really much geared towards beginners. So there's very few external controls. And according to TechRadar, it's gonna be the smallest and lightest RF mount camera. So that's really cool. So it's Canon's smallest, lightest, and simplest EOS R system camera. It's even smaller and lighter than the EOS M52, which is very surprising, which is another point of reference. We're talking a mere 12 grams, but 375 gram, including card and battery. The R50 is a tiny little thing. So that's really surprising that it's gonna be even lighter than the M50. And the M50, let me just grab my brother's one that's right outside the frame. The M50 is already a very small camera. I wish I, you know, could use the M50 more so like this. I always have it on the battery grip, so it's always like, you know, like a couple inches taller. But look at that, such a small camera, such a compact camera, but to think that R50 is gonna be lighter, possibly lighter, that's insane to me. I'm kind of just going over the highlights of what I think is interesting and I think what you guys should know. As a vlogging camera, the EOS R5 covers most of the bases with a mic input, plus a very angled screen that can flip out to the side, no headphone jack, single control dial, and an ISO button. So it's very similar to the M50. It's really hard to distinguish names right now because they both have M50 in there. So it's going to go into the features and performance. Has the same power as the EOS R10, decent autofocus for an entry-level camera, and guided UI helpful for beginners. It has a Digic 10 processor, 24 megapixel crop sensor, dual pixel autofocus. The R50 subject detection is simpler. Eye detection is available, which you can't choose which eye to focus on, which for many beginners, that doesn't really matter. just as long as you focus on the eye. Let's get into some of the video recording. Video recorded at 4K 30 is taken from an oversampled 6K. Although there's no 4K 60 option as in the R10, video cropping can be a point of contention for some, and understandably if you need to shoot wide angle half-speed sequences, but on the flip side you can get extra reach when your lens isn't quite enough. The M50 can only go up to 4K 24, which is completely fine for what it is, but you do have the option for 4K 30 in the R50. No option for 4K 60. Would have been nice, even though it might have a crop, but you know, for most people they won't be using 4K, I guess, especially when you're first starting off. You know, you can record in portrait video. They have it built in, so when you hold the camera like this and you record, it automatically tell the computer that it's recorded in portrait. Let's go into image and video quality real quick. Some points here: the same 24 megapixel sensor as the EOS R10, sharp 4K 30 video from oversampled 6K, and the only 3 RFS zoom lenses available. So there's only 3 zoom lenses, RFS zoom lenses that can go on the R50 natively. That are available right now. Your lens selection is kind of limited if you don't have a lens adapter, which you can get a lens adapter, and I'll have the lens adapter in the description. Photos and videos are pleasant straight out of the camera. Filmmakers don't get a log color profile option that would give greater flexibility for grading the look in post, but reality check, this is a camera for beginners, not seasoned shooters. The natural color profile is probably the best alternative. So like I've been saying the entire time, this camera is geared towards beginners, so a lot of the pro features that, you know, most people would, you know, pro people would be looking for is just not going to be in here. I feel like at this point I've grown out of the M50. I kind of want a little bit more features, I guess. I still like making videos with this thing because it packs so much value in such a cheap price and such a small body that I can't help but talk about it. So that's why I'm talking about the R50 right now. So let's continue on with this. The EOS R50's respectable video skills are evident in the crisp and clean 4K 30 videos oversampled from 6K. You won't find slow motion 4K 60, but there are more frame rates available in full HD. So this one doesn't have IBIS, not that big of a deal. You can buy like a cheap gimbal, like those smaller gimbals for like that were made for like mirrorless cameras. They're not too expensive. It says here the EOS M system has only realized 6 lenses before falling out of favor almost entirely. We hope that history doesn't repeat itself with the RFS mount. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate with the EOS M system. They didn't really release a lot of lenses for that system. So with the RFS mount, which is, I'm assuming, the crop sensor lenses for the, you know, the crop sensor cameras, hopefully it doesn't fall that same route. But with all the cameras they're releasing for the R system, like the R8, the R50, the R7, the R10, I don't think that's gonna happen. The EOS R50 feels like the unofficial end to the Canon EOS M system, acting as a direct alternative to the EOS M52. It also packed a similar feature set to triple-digit Canon DSLRs like the EOS 250D, although autofocus and video performance have improved significantly in mirrorless tech. This is now the smallest, lightest, and simplest entry point into the Canon's EOS R system. Yet it's another mini DSLR style camera and largely indistinguishable from the R10. We think Canon could have been a little bit bolder with the design to get rid of the viewfinder altogether for 2 reasons: the target audience of beginners and vloggers that have less need of it, plus the viewfinder display itself is too small to be particularly helpful anyway. Just from reading and then you looking at the specs and seeing how these other people were able to look at this camera, it looks like this is going to be the direct replacement for the Canon EOS M50, which I've been using for like ever since 2017 when it first came out, which is kind of sad in a way because this is a camera that I basically grew my channel on, and I've been making YouTube videos for like, at this point almost 6 years. Insane. You know, it's sad to see that it's being replaced by this camera, but I'm also super excited to see what this camera is going to be capable of, because, you know, obviously there's new features. It's newer. It's replacing a 6-year-old camera essentially. So that's going to be really exciting. I really want to pick one of these up. It's just kind of out of budget right now. I'm really looking at the R8 just to upgrade to a full frame camera, but I still want to make videos on, you know, the R50 and kind of, you know, do the same thing that I did with the M50, kind of introduce it as the camera for a lot of beginners and people who want to get into video and photography on YouTube. So yeah, stay tuned for those videos because I really want to make it and I might actually end up making it. So subscribe if you guys want to see more of that. So the last thing I want to cover today is which one should you get now? So we were talking about the R50 and then M50 Mark II and then the R10. So they're all in a very, very similar price range, but which one should you get? In my honest opinion, if you're someone who's just trying to get into, you know, YouTube, you want to do some vlogging, you want to take some photos, the R50 seems like it's going to be the camera. I can't say for sure because, you know, I've never used it. I don't even have the camera. If it's anything like they're saying that's going to be the replacement for the M50, I definitely would recommend waiting for that when it comes out next month, hopefully. If you just can't wait and you just want to get a camera right now, the M50 Mark II is still a really, really great camera. You can go up to the R10. It's going to be a full frame camera, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you know, you get all the benefits of full frame. So I'm super excited for the R50 and also the R8. Oh man, that's like the camera that basically has everything I need at the moment. But if you guys are interested in the R10, I made a video about it quite a while back talking about it, comparing it to the M50. I was thinking that was going to be like the replacement, but obviously now, you know, the R50 is going to be that. If you guys want to check out my travel channel, I've been releasing a lot of more like travel related content. We went to Japan, so posting a lot of reels on that, so definitely check it out if you guys are interested. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.